of the Star Good Morning Show is the start of another working week. I am Leonora Jawala and I hope you all have got yourself a wonderful weekend. Well, top stories in the program today, a two-day consultative conference on the Bintumani 3 by civil society groups concludes on Saturday, 18th May 2019 at the Miata Conference Hall in Freetown, aimed at getting a position paper by civil society groups on what they intend to achieve. The Milton Magai College of Education and Technology on Thursday, 16 May 2019, paid a visit at the college's land at Jaima Sawe, Nimikoro Chiefdom in Kono District, aimed at undertaking a feasibility study for the college expansion in that part of the country. While with me in the studio is Kev Kobai, Executive Director for Sierra Leone, and he'll be talking to me on government's efforts to hold in the Bintumanity conference at a time where there is seemingly political divide in the country. Also is Hassan Fouad Kanu, Executive Director Yakan. He is here to talk to me more on the outcome of the consultative conference on civil society. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
All right, and remember the Star Good Morning Show is sponsored by Rokel Commercial Bank. We shall be right back.
If you want to get your lunch around quick one without waste time from supermarket or restaurant not on, you not feel say that go fine if you just take what you want without not turn up na long line. With Rokel Commercial Bank Copper Pass, a free, easy, and are the fastest way for make payment with just your phone. Scan the Rokel Commercial Bank Copper Pass QR code and make your payment instantly. You no need no internet na your phone. Rokel Commercial Bank, the bank of choice.
4 minutes gone past 9 is the time from our studio clock, and now let's begin with our first news item for today. Now, a two-day consultative conference on the Bintumani Free Conference by civil society groups concludes on Saturday, 18th May 2019 at the Miata Conference Hall in Freetown. The conference was aimed at getting a position paper by civil society groups on what they intend to achieve. Judge Elliot Sam has more and in our reports.
While giving the context to the build-up of the Bintumani 3, the Minister of Political and Public Affairs, Honorable Ambassador Fode Yonkela, said the third conference will mark the turning point of Sierra Leone. He went further to state that it is democracy at work because people will decide which way the country will go in the form of peace and national cohesion.
Also, they go talk about now how we go put forward a structure through which we go able for the talk, through which we go able for see say if things they happen here, we go able for handle quick, through which we go able for say, oh, how we not look there together. What we go make about for being a Sierra Leonean identity? Who will come out for say we na Saloma? Because we already the record, we like we Salome. But really, thinking time, we can say, we so also hate ourselves. And I believe so. Me now one person will not believe that at all. I believe say Salome man like me, say Mama Salome.
While speaking to Star Television in an interview, Marcella Samba Sise said the purpose for them as civil society to organize short dialogue conference is for the people to become aware of the danger when there is no peace and national cohesion among them, and also for the government to also become aware of the power should yield in democratic society and their expectation for peace and national cohesion in the country at the end of the conference.
Okay, today we have the Civil Society Consultative Conference in the run-up to Bintumani 3. This is the conference that the government has designed around national peace and cohesion. And so we are doing a pre-con conference arrangement where we bring in civil society from across the country, 300 in number, to deliberate extensively around issues of national peace and cohesion. Since this morning, we have had various speakers, the Minister and Deputy Minister of Political Affairs, the country representative of the United Nations Development Program, a number of organizations, civil society organizations in Sierra Leone, and we have talked about what are the basics, how do we set the stage for such a conference on national peace and cohesion, which in actual fact should start on the 23rd of May at the Bintumani conference. So it's very useful that before we go to the Bintumani Free Conference, civil society has a collective position, and that's why we've drawn representatives of civil society from across the country to feed into the civil society position paper for this conference. It's an opportunity to contribute. One of the things that came out very clearly this morning is that the role of civil society is that of checks and balances. Each and every sector of the society has its space. Elected representatives have been given their responsibility, and us civil society, who are the conscience of the citizens, are also here to make our own contribution.
Hawa Saleh Samai, while speaking to Star Television on the position of the Green Paper, said the Green Paper is not all about the Sierra Leone People's Party, SLPP. These are steps which are taken for a bill to pass in Parliament.
This Green Paper articulates what we have as Sierra Leone currently, looking at the different structures we have, what are the next steps as Sierra Leoneans that we should take, looking at all the infrastructure of peace around Africa, where they have no infrastructure of peace or peace commissions are the same, but all of them came about through a legislative means, that through an act of parliament. And how could we as Sierra Leoneans go about similar processes to achieve our own infrastructure of peace in Sierra Leone? Now, this is all about peace, right? So the national, the different consultations that have been going on, that are still going on, and that would accumulate to the Bintumani 3, is how as Sierra Leonean we should uphold the peace, develop an infrastructure for peace, and how we as Sierra Leonean could own the process and make it as apolitical as possible. So these are some of the highlights of the Green Paper and the way forward for Sierra Leoneans.
The Bintumani 3 will look into the following: Peace Commission structure and national diversity, constitutionalism, the rule of law and national cohesion, electoral integrity and electoral violence, parliament, civil society and national cohesion, corruption, institutional integrity and national cohesion, resource distribution and national cohesion. For Star News in Freetown, I am George Elliott Sam reporting.
Many thanks to you, George Elliott Sam, for putting that report together. And you're still watching the Star Good Morning Show live here on Star TV channel 21. I still have Kev and Asad Fuad Kanu here with me in the studio. We're talking about the Bintumani 3 conference that shall be held shortly in Sierra Leone. Welcome again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Fuad, before we talk about your consultative conference by the civil society, let me bring in Kev. I'm going to ask you the same question, though. What do you make of this Bintumani 3 conference?
Wow. The Bintumani conference is necessary for the country in a way, but again, it's a situation of a bag of mixed fruits, wherein we are having a consultation being summoned, or a national conference being summoned by a central government who should not be really taking lead in this process. I have my reasons why I say so. The spirit behind the Bintumani itself, Bintumani, be it Bintumani 1 and Bintumani 2, was triggered by civil society, religious bodies in Sierra Leone far back in 1996, when we had the military junta, where people felt they should take their rightful position in society to determine the pace at which the nation's national processes should be triggered and directed. And so Even though the military dictators then were against us coming together to decide what way to take, yet we dictated the pace. And at the end of the day, the voice of the nation's people was adhered to. So if you are coming back in the stead of that same Bintu Mani, then fall back to those characters of organizations that organized Bintu Mani 1 and Bintu Mani 2, because they have a feel as to what Bintu Mani 1 and 2 entailed then. They have a feeling as to how the consultations should be organized so that every facet of the society we feel belong and feel part of it, and we have the kind of open mind to come and discuss and air out the views on national cohesion. But then if you have a government calling for a national cohesion, wherein the government has been also a player, now becoming a referee, you will find it difficult for people to really stand out and speak out their voice in a coherent manner, in a sincere manner, because this is a government in power, and we all know the political dynamics in our country. For a government to be seated on a high table, and it takes a few of us with the gut to say the hard fact in the face of government authorities, even when they are seated. But how many people will have that same courage when the government is seated to air out their views, even though those situations around them may not be favorable? So these are some of the bottlenecks we're going to have. Another challenge would be if the opposition parties are not in concert with the Bintu Mani 3, are we going to achieve the spirit of reconciliation in this country? That's a big concern. So if we had government remain a player, not a referee at the same time as a player, and we have all of the players who have been involved in whatever national processes, be it the APC party, be it the NGC, be it the other political parties, including the SLPP and the government in power now in governance, it will be a better situation wherein they'll all be brought together to air out what have been the grievances and what will be the way forward for the country in a sincere manner. So that's a concern that civil society had before now, where you had many publications, press releases, that no, it is not government that should be calling for a Bintu Mani 3. It should not be spearheaded by government. Even if government has the intention for national cohesion to be promoted, can they allow independent minds to spearhead this process? Bring the religious and the civil society leaders so that they can now draw up an agenda that will encompass all of the different shades of opinions of our country. So that when we meet, we are meeting to carve the way forward for our country. It cannot be done in a way wherein processes are skewed. Yeah? So we need to really have this clear thought as we go into Bintu Mani. Yes, we need cohesion. The country is divided. As I speak to you, you go across the country from district to district, then you understand what it means to hold a national process of this nature in a bid to path the way forward for our country. However, if we do not build it on a solid foundation, then it will crack at the end of the day. It is like you putting up a two-story building foundation. By the time you finish that building, it collapses.
Okay, so you are for the Bintu Mani 3 conference?
Yes, I believe Bintu Mani conference should be the way forward for this country. But then the captain of the ship of the Bintu Mani 3 is the concern, because we want to have all shades of opinion brought on board that process. So if we don't have more so the protagonists of our political landscape, the SLPP tribe that I am today, it is by God's own divine wisdom that he decided in a small country of this nature to put 16 ethnic groups in Sierra Leone. He has his own wisdom. And in that, we should be prepared to accommodate the rest of the other tribes that are in this country. No tribe is superior to the other, neither any tribe inferior to the other. We are all of equal standing before God. God, who created us in his infinite image, knows why he created us and gave us different tribes and different dialects. Therefore, we should be prepared to respect others' tribe and the opinions that they hold also. In a democracy, your political opinion should differ from me does not mean I shouldn't give you room to express your opinion. That's the beauty of democracy. And so, consistent of the practices of other people within the political landscape, we have seen people being victimized for their political ideology, for their reasoning. I don't reason with you politically, and so you think I'm an enemy. I shouldn't be treated as an enemy. I'm a brother. You are a sister. The fact that you hold a different orientation does not mean we should not reason together.
If I bring in forward, thinking about people are saying there is political divide, there is so much tension in the country. Is there a justification for holding a peace conference?
Yes, because there are many underlying factors.
Is it timely?
I could say yes. We saw the event, the aftermath of the elections, the 2018 elections, where across the country we had this outburst of violence. Until some of us spoke loudly about it and we saw government take the lead now of the lowly class, that matter is kicked out of court. You don't have justice. There are political issues because your party is not the governing body of the day. Your matter will not be looked at. That's injustice. We have seen that even within the previous regime. When matters were brought against them by the SLPP when they were in opposition, those things were not done judiciously. And so all of these things have brought us to where we are today. So even when the SLPP is now in power, they are also using that same pattern of the last regime to muzzle the opposition today. So, and as we continue in that vein, it becomes a vicious cycle. And where we have a vicious cycle, there's every need for a peace process.
All right, let me hold you there. Let me bring in forward. Do you think Sierra Leoneans should give the Somali people a chance?
Well, what I would say in terms of getting a peace coalition, together for Sierra Leone, it's a little bit late, and it's also partly timely, and the reason I'm saying is we are talking. Remember the main trunk card of this particular conference, named Bintumani, is a peace coalition, and there are so many problems across Sierra Leone, even areas wherein you think politically they are settled, there are other problems in those particular areas, and we are faced with a lot of problem as a nation wherein we have economic problem, we have a lot of other issues that are bothering the citizens of this particular country, and also the conference is so important that everything is important on the light of this particular conference we're talking about. We 1 year down the line after election, we are still talking about transition. You understand? It tells you that there are certain things which continue to unfold itself, and people are not ready to let go. You understand? And we have to look at all of this particular issue. And from a civil society point of view, we believe there are problems with different sets of people. There are problems with women. There are problems with young people, youth. Over the last 3 weeks to 1 month, there has been this issue on youth in terms of a non-partisan issue that's now been into partisan discussion, wherein they are doing youth elections across the country in different districts. You understand? And every district have been coming up with their own issue and their own problem. You understand? We are talking about political parties having both internal and external problems. You understand? We are talking about the common man in the urban areas. You understand? Have been talking about how they can be able to sustain themselves as Sierra Leoneans. They are fighting to live. You understand? There are so many issues, you know, which should be discussed. We are talking about a free space for media. You understand? There are so many things that we have to discuss, and so if we're talking about a peace coalition, then we need to we want to qualify it to just political issues. The politicians will go there. they would make peace among themselves, and then after this particular conference,
Because
you still see problems.
sorry to cut you,
across.
one question that many people have been asking, who are they organizing this conference for? There is so much distrust. APC doesn't trust SLPP, SLPP doesn't trust APC. So people are thinking about the credibility and sincerity of the organizers. Is it for the politicians? Is it for all citizens of Sierra Leone? Who mainly is this conference for? What's your take?
I believe, for me, they are looking around peace among political actors. That is what they are really looking at. Because if you are saying that you are calling moderators who are already political party agents to go and moderate discussion, it means what you want to do is a political party peace conference you want to do. You understand? And if you are doing that, and then you are also a political party and you are in governance, and you are taking the lead, then what Kev was saying begins to come to light. You understand? Who are the moral guarantors? You understand? We hear about moderators. Who are these moderators that can see themselves as not political actors and statesmen? You understand? You cannot have an issue between APC and SLPP and then you call NGC to go and moderate. NGC itself have a problem with SLPP and have a problem with APC at some point in time.
Distrust.
You cannot have a podium and you call C4C to go and moderate between SLPP and APC when APC itself have a problem with C4C.
So now we
Exactly
see,
my
so
point.
now we see the former Vice President Samsumana has been invited to share the conference. Does that have any significance?
Exactly my point, my dear. The legitimacy of the conference. There is this importance which my brother has really outlined to the conference, which is very good, which I also have alluded to. But then the legitimacy of he who is convening. Legitimacy in a sense. If it is bordering around politics, then it shouldn't be a political player trying to solve the problem of another political player. It should be a neutral body. By the way, maybe people are not too familiar with this process of the Bintu-Mani. I am happy for one beautiful thing, which is the fact that President Bio is not new to Bintu-Mani. When President Bio was chairman of the MPRC2, we had Bintu-Mani 2. When we called for peace, elections before peace. And when he was the chairman, he was calling for peace before election. I could remember vividly, he traveled to across the provinces. He went to Boy, he went to Kenema. Kailan was no-go area, and the north was no-go area. But he went to the south because it was accessible, and in the western region to say we needed peace before elections. And the people of this country said, no, we want elections before peace. Hence Bintu-Mani 2. And it was so concertedly done, where the youth, the student leaders, I was a student leader then. Student leaders, we told the line with the rest of the religious leaders, the civil society organizations, that we are calling for elections before peace, because we understood if we had opted for peace before elections, we are going to have the military guys stay in power for a lengthy period. We didn't want the khaki boys to stay in power any longer, so we clamored and moved for elections. With the backdrop that the coming government will now champion the peace process. So President Bio is not new to this. He understands what it means for the people's will to be observed. When the people said, the nation's people said we were going in for Bintu-Mani 2, but it was going to be elections before peace, and we were giving the leverage. At the end of the day, it was what came out of Bintu-Mani 2 that President Bio, then as chairman of the MPRC2, he heeded to it. He said, fine. If the nation has called for elections, elections will go. We had elections. So for me, he was a young man then. If he understood what it meant for the will of the people to be granted, I think he now understands it best. As a man, as a big man now, he's grown in stature, in wisdom, He's a president. I know he can understand when these concerns keep coming up, that we want to have a national process that would have everybody on board. And if we want to have everybody on board, the question of having the government to lead that process becomes questionable.
But the thing is, we've got post-war conferences, the TIC, the Bintumani 1 and 2, and there were recommendations in those conferences. The question is, those recommendations, have they been implemented?
No.
Is there a need for another conference?
Yes, there's a need. Yeah. The issue is, we are in a crossroad as a nation. Yeah. We are just from, we have so many issues. We're just from war, like 20 years backward. And we have Ebola, you understand, we have mudslide, and we also we are seeing political tensions want to take us aback, you understand, economically, you understand. So there is a need. We are also seeing that the country is divided, and it is vivid, yeah, that if you are in a particular party, you understand, the chances of you losing your job is very, very high. If you are in a particular party, the chance of you, with all your qualification, of you not being able to sustaining your family is also very, very high. We are also looking at peace among Sierra Leoneans, wherein because you have a role in a particular party, you have a fear that if I go to a particular area in Sierra Leone, I will be coerced, I'll be victimized. You understand? And the need is now. We want to see a process, but what we don't want to see as civil society is a process which can be stage managed, because they want to say, oh, we have conducted this particular situation. What we want to see as civil society is for it to have a true meaning. And even when we were at today's consultative session at civil society, we begin to look at three issues. The issues of the disabled. It's not because disabled are not able physically, you understand, but we begin to look, how are their welfare being looked at, you understand, as a nation. How have we been able to, when we talk about free quality education, how have we been able to include them in this education we are talking about. We look at issues of young people. How can young people be able to contribute into governance of the states? How can they play their part without being, they've been put into political division? We also look at civil society space of itself. Do we have the space as civil society? Can we be able to navigate properly without government slamming laws against us? Can we be able to call people to account, you understand? Not only financially, but if they say they are going to provide free education, what is the quality there? Can people admit that they did these particular things wrong? So we are looking at it from different points.
So what has been the role of the CSO in setting up the peace infrastructure?
Well, first of all, we are not a major player in this Bintumani 3 preparation. We are going there with a quota that they give to us. We are going there as not just as spectators also, wherein we go there and observe, and we also look at our own recommendation. That is why before we go, we are going to develop our position paper. We have started the process. We have put the ideas together. We are going to, by tomorrow, we will be reviewing it, and then we adopt it as a society. And then we'll publish it even before we go to the conference. You understand? To say that these are our take. This is what we think that government should do if you want to see a lasting peace. You understand? And the issue about if we miss this particular opportunity to bring Sierra Leone together so we can move forward, it is going to hinge on us.
So CSO, there were a time when CSO we were calling for the postponement of the conference, and now we see every CSO want the conference to go on. What's bring that change?
Well, basically, first of all, when they started, sometimes in March, a group of people decided to do a consultation on behalf of CSOs, which we were against, you understand? And then the idea was reviewed, and then some other stakeholders among CSO were consulted, and then we recommended that we want to meet at our own level, you understand? And we want to discuss this issue so we can be able to know our position. And that was what we did on Friday and Saturday, 17 and 18. We met, we have a lot of CSOs, but we were able to identify 300 CSOs across the country, from every area, from the disabled, from the youth, from those who are doing different things across the CSO platform, you understand? And we met, we discussed, we looked at the issues, and we have recommended. And among those 300 also, we have decided to get a smaller group which can review what we discussed in the 2 days in a 1-day meeting, reviewed it, and then we can use that particular document as our presentation. The reason why we were saying that we cannot have the because we wanted to meet. We wanted to meet, and we wanted, if government is going to give us, can you imagine, before now they said they were going to give us 10 quota for CSO in a meeting as important as a Bintumani 3. And then now they've increased it to 40. So if we're in there, the 40 people that are going there, if we're going to participate in any group session, we know we have people of stature and people that can be able to represent us adequately within the process. So now we are ready. You understand? We don't know. Even though there's another issue, very, very important, that the children of this nation have been left out. There has not been any consultation from the children, and we will not want to see a position where they go and pick a child to give a statement on behalf of children. That cannot be inclusive. You understand?
Let me bring in Kobai, Fuad just talked about consultation. Do you think that this Bintumani 3 conference is the right platform? Do you think there's been much consultation, thinking about the political divide, the tension, and the governance system? So many people are not happy.
We've not had in-depth consultations along the way to leading to the Bintumani 3, and which is also a challenge and a pointer as to whether the Bintumani 3 will really come out in the manner in which we expect it to be. Because if events leading to Bintumani 3 still have not been in the way that people could embrace it, then there's a need to be worried about the event itself. What does this mean? If the civil society had not pushed on their own that we needed to hold our own consultations, to consult amongst ourselves, and to reason together, to understand the need for Bintumani 3, and what are the issues that bother around us, how do we challenge on those issues at Bintumani 3, you would not even have the civil society go into Bintumani 3 with a constructive kind of engagement. So my question was, at our own consultation, why did this same process not hold for the political parties? So that you have a pre-Bintumani 3 for political parties to consult amongst themselves.
I believe the APIA is there, but the APIA.
Yeah, but they've not done that
yet. They are in court.
So yeah, they've not done that. What are the political issues that are still dividing you guys that you think have a complication on the national process itself, on the broader spectrum? When they consult, they will have a kind of roadmap to come to Bintumani 3, to talk as a political party, as an entity, rather than just talk as individual political parties. You have room for individual political parties presentations, and then you have as an entity of all political parties coming together, bringing out their own paper as to what are the issues that they think we should engage on. There should have been a room for teachers' consultations. They are the largest employment in the government, the civil service, or the public service. They should hold, their issues are unique to themselves as teachers. They should hold their own consultation and come out with their resolutions. What do they want to see at Bintumani? Because until those divisional consultations are held, when you come to Bintumani 3, it has to be a skewed process. People will not be given the room to really air out the issues as they are, and there will not be enough time for those issues to be delved into adequately for us to reach a general and national consensus on those different diverging issues. So for me, This is the challenge that we have with the Bintu Mani 3. Like my brother rightly said, in this country we are not only divided on political lines. There are social divisions that we have. There are economic divisions that we have. How empowered are the citizens economically in this country? That's the challenge. And if you go back to the TRC, one of the chapters of the TRC also stated that economic deprivation was a yardstick for people to have gone into war, to have picked up weapons to kill one another. We have not combated that yet. Have we looked at it squarely? And so, for me, Bintu Mani 3 will be a kind of evaluation of the recommendations of the TRC, how far over the lifespan of the country's democracy have we gone into implementation of the CRC report.
So talking about political divide, there's rumor that there's going to be some boycott by some political parties. And now let's say, what if President Nkrumah and other political party leaders do make statements at the conference? Do you think that will make a change?
It will just be a sham, honestly. Wow. You see, my brother said it correctly. Stage managing the process is the concern. And if you handpick just a few political leaders to come make statements without them even holding consultations with their constituents, it's a sham. That political leader will be talking from his own perspective, not from the perspective of those he represents. That's key. In a national process of this, you should be prepared to hold a series of consultations along the line, even before you get to the corridors of the Bintu Mani 3. It is all of those consultations that will inform the crafting of the Bintu Mani 3, the program of the Bintu Mani 3. The agenda itself will be informed by those outcomes of the series of consultations that have been held with different facets of the society. But because we have not had that, what is informing even the agenda of the consultations of the Bintu Mani 3? So, my concern keeps coming. Are we in for a better outcome as we go into Bintu Mani 3? Or are we also going to have a stalemate because the process itself has not begun on the right footing? And that should be a question for the government to begin to re-evaluate and to be magnanimous to say, come to think of it, we had a good reason of coming up with Bintu Mani 3. But if the concerns coming up have remained but legitimate from the different quarters that we've heard, can we redesign the Bintu Mani 3? There's a need to hold Bintu Mani 3, but it is not a do or die to have it on the 23rd. If all of the issues that have not been addressed need to be addressed, can we go back to the drawing board and have all of these things laid to rest before we go to Bintu Mani 3? So by the time we go to Bintu Mani 3, it will just be a matter of consolidating those different outcomes of the different facets of our society.
Okay, let me listen to the view of Fuad. What's your take on that?
Well, I want to look at a different opinion of the Bintu Mani 3. By now, today, we should have maybe seen the of the Bintu Mani 3. Because tell you what, these are going to be, in other countries, when you have a process like this one, they're going to break it out to sessions. So, if I want to partake in a particular session, I will know where I want to go. And we have still not been able to understand how many people are going to this Bintu Mani conference. But the courts have stopped them not to meet or to even use the name in any publication. That itself is a whole problem ahead in the Bintu Mani. Because if APC, SLPP, PMDC, NGC, C4C do not have a forum where they can meet, do you want them to go and meet at Bintu Mani? If they go to meet at Bintu Mani, do you want to have a person among them who's going to say, I'm the chairman of APIA? No. You have the political parties. Every political parties, according to PPRC, they should have a structure. Every district, they should have an office in every district. There are some political parties, like the APC and SLPP, which have structures from the communities. And so, if there is a divide there, like we were saying, wherein SAPP, a representative from SAPP, at district level, go there and say something which does not go right with the national level. So we want to do everything in a rush so we can satisfy ourselves that we have already done this. What do we want to do? Do we want to ensure that we solve this once and for all and move forward as a nation, or we want to start a process that we can also take forward for the next 1 year? And development is not waiting for us. You understand? There are, like I said, like when I started, I told you that there are a lot of issues. And so if we want to see that we have a better, for example, for some information which I knew is that there was supposed to be a consultative meeting for women, you understand, led by the Minister of Social Welfare. Unfortunately, they don't have the resources to do it. So what they do, they call the meeting at the ministry, and they choose some stakeholders. Was this done in other areas?
So exactly my point forward that I said. Fine, the government says Bintumani 3 is a process. It's not the end all and be all. But we are kickstarting the process in the wrong way, in the reverse order. So we should have had sector by sector consultations before going to Bintumani 3. It will take us 3, 4, 5, 6 months to doing that. Yes. But the in-depth of it will determine the success of Bintumani 3. For example, we should have within the political party landscape, all political parties have their consultations. We have women's group to hold their consultations. We should have student group, university to hold theirs. The tech folks should hold, because the issues that border around those different sectors are unique to themselves. So when you hold consultations, you have their views before they have, because the Bintumani 3 cannot hold all of the people together. They are saying 600. So a Leone of 7 million population, you're bringing only 600 to determine a peace process for this country.
0.1%.
So therefore, we needed to have had all of these consultations at our different levels. Take it from the chiefdom level, you bring it down to district level, you come to regional level. Once you have those concluded processes, they have their resolutions. Now you can summon the Bintumani 3. And people coming out can represent those views at those consultations that they've had at the different levels. There should be even a room for, even though you might say for complex reasons it should not be, but I believe they are also related. The security sector should have their own consultation. How do they think that they should continue under democracy to be an independent security sector, to be a security sector that the people can trust and rely on moving forward this country, where they will be able to enhance the rule of law? As it is, the country has become so lawless. The security sector is overwhelmed in
question again.
yes, this
Building a national cohesion, a peaceful cohesion, it does not depend only on the politicians.
no, it doesn't.
We as citizens has a role to play. And
Yes.
you have so many people playing party politics. And exactly.
It's
So,
in everything.
So I tell you why. This is why, for me, it is still not late. Yeah? As activists, we did it once in 1996, we got it. When we pushed the government then, that no, you should not be championing peace before election for us. Let us determine what is good for us in this country. And we said we wanted elections before peace, and we had it. I am looking forward to the religious leaders, the academias, the civil society coming together to tell government, no, yes, we appreciate the fact that you have come up with the idea, take a back step now, and we want to lead this process. We can better design the way forward in bringing all of you, you government, the other political players, and the social actors of our day, and carve a better way forward for this country. But until we are courageous to tell government to our face that you are not the right person to steer this for us, we will not succeed.
all right, let me hold you there. Let's take our final inserts for today. Now, the Milton Magai College of Education and Technology on Thursday, 16th May 2019, paid a visit to Jaima Sawe Nimikoro Chiefdom in Kono District. The aim is to undertake feasibility for the college expansion in that part of the country. Judge Elliot Sam has the details.
The Milton Magai College of Education and Technology has on Thursday, 16th May 2019, paid a visit to the college land at Njama Swafe, Nimiyama Chiefdom, Kono District. In a statement, the principal Magai College of Education and Technology, Dr. Philip John Kano said the main motive for the visit is for them as administration to meet with the landowners, the paramount chiefs, and other key stakeholders in the community, and also to have an actual view of the property and what they might intend to do on it.
We are here today in German Swafe because Miltimagai was given a land long ago, and we came to lay claims over that land so that it could now be properly documented and be the sole property of the college. So that's why we are here today, to meet the chiefs, the landowners, and all the community people. So that's why we are here. And also to fix our signpost so that people that are using the highway now to go to Koidu or even going to Matutuka or any part of the country, they will see that the Miltimagai is coming to the doorsteps of people in this country. Core mandate is to train teachers and to also address the issues of the middleman power. We have a very good fitting in this arrangement because when we came, we saw a lot of schools, secondary, primary schools, and even preschools. They are all here. So our intention is to make sure that we address the needs of teachers. We address the issue of the middleman power, because Kono is well known for diamonds, but we want to bring education and also turn around the narrative that Kono, they have a lot of, because today it's actually seen through the introduction that we received. All of the paramount chiefs, all of the chiefs are well educated, minimum master's level. So for me, I think this is an opportunity for us to come and make sure that we support the quality, the free quality education President Julius Maada Bio has already declared for this nation. We are going to make sure that we support him in all facets.
While speaking to Star Television, the paramount chief of Nimiyama, PC George Bokari Toto, said he is very happy for the visit of the college administration and hope that the land given to the college, they will make good use of it and that their children and community will also benefit from it.
I'm glad when I see the quality of my staff, male staff, which means we put premium on education. We don't go ever change your mind because this we don't look for it for long, and therefore principal and the staff will now welcome again to this chiefdom. The change of mind for say we have been over a force. It is too far for recognition. Secondly, it's small. I don't say college they grow, or institution they grow. Let's say they say campus. Sometimes go come, we go make a body home and some, you know. Sometimes we go put some research center inside the. So the place we don't choose for now, when I go visit, when I go see, when I go access, I go bloody. So then this with the madam, the way them they can Air Force, then they call we change your mind, say, well, let us not give them people there. We will give some other inferior college, as small as a space, but not MMTC, whatever you call it. When I don't bring education, when I bring education to we doorsteps, we just imagine we begin all the common and go free town with all the problems, the risk of traveling, the cost of traveling. So when I bring a canaya, I should say we patronize them. We really go patronize them. And we're glad we, out of all the 14 children in Akono, and I don't choose Nimiyama for be number one.
For Star News in Freetown, I am Judge Elliot Sam reporting.
Thank you, George. And now we're rounding up the program. Let me start off with you, Kobai. Do you think this whole process has been in a rush?
Yes, it is, because like I said, we have not laid the foundation well. And until the foundation is well laid, the building will collapse at the end of the day. So what we need to have is, let the government be sincere with this whole process. We are not bringing peace for international community. It's for ourselves. So until those things that need to be addressed are addressed, before peace can be enhanced. Don't rush up with a peace process because you want to show to international community or the rest of the world that Sierra Leone is peaceful. We cannot relate to one another when we are still having sore within. We will not get it right. At the end of the day, we'll still go back to the same old situation. So let us take our time to doing it so that we'll get it right. Have the academians hold their own consultations, the security sector, the student union hold theirs. You should have the drivers union. They are a large entity. As we speak, they're in court. You need to have all of those shades of opinion. You need to have the keke and the Okada riders have their own. Their situation is unique to themselves. Yeah? So let us all reason in our own different cocoons. You have the sports community. What do they want to see in terms of sports and talent in this country before you go to Bintumani? Until those rudiments are laid, Bintumani 3 will just be but a sham.
Let me bring in further as we round, in all of this, what's the standpoint of the civil society?
Well, basically, I want to assure the people of Sierra Leone that civil society remain focused in this particular process. We are representing the voice of the voiceless, and our recommendations are going to even be made public before even they've been to money. Yeah, and we are going to ensure that we share it through WhatsApp, because we know WhatsApp is a very big podium, and we will engage a lot of different WhatsApp administrators across the country so that everybody can be able to see what civil society said. And we are also going to use the Facebook. One thing that we'll be doing also tomorrow, whilst we are doing the validation, we are going to do a live stream on Facebook. So if you have our Facebook page, and then you can like it. And what we're going to do also, as long as you are a Sierra Leonean, you are wherever you are, we are going to boost our Facebook page by midnight today, so that you receive a notification from Facebook that this meeting is going on in Sierra Leone. So you can just, if you want to go, you can just say yes, you can like it, and then you can be having information from us. That's what we are going to do, to ensure that we have an inclusive process, so that whatever people say, we're going to also take recommendation and comments from our Facebook to look into them, because there are people who are out of Sierra Leone, but they have this particular issue at heart. And also, we are going to ensure that on civil society behalf, when we are going to be at Bintumani, we are going to do a live stream broadcast in our page, so that people who have issues across the world will see, you understand, what is happening, and from our own particular point. But we want the public to rest assured that civil society is settled. We are having, for the first time in long years, a one position, and we are going to Bintumani for the sake of the people of Sierra Leone.
Okay, Kobai, quickly, do you think this whole conference will be a success? What are some of the expected outcome that you are expecting?
Success for Bintumani 3 can only be premised on a better preparation, a better foundation. If the preparations leading to Bintumani 3 are not well cohesive, they are not consistent, they are not coherent, believe you me, the success will not be anything much to write home about. And that being said, if government still pushes it, it can only be but to the process, and then we can have better discussions. We'll be able to have fruitful outcome of the Bintumani 3.
Okay, thank you so very much, Kev Kobai, Executive Director of Forward Sierra Leone, and also Hassan Kano, Executive Director of YACAN. We've been discussing about the Bintumani 3 conference. Join me tomorrow for another edition. Thank you for watching. I am Leonora Jawara, leaving you with inspirational quotes for today, which says, "Don't let yesterday take up too much of today." Have yourself a wonderful day.
Inna lillahi wa inna lillahi raji'un. The death is announced of the late retired Inspector of the Sierra Leone Police, Mohammed Doumbouya, who died on the 17th May 2019, aged 77, formerly of number 13 Kobo Farm opposite the Ice Block compound by Jue. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Tamara Doumbouya, in the USA. Children: Alpha Doumbouya, Daniel Taylor; grandson, Mohammed Doumbouya Jr., granddaughter, Caroline Julie Doumbouya. He is survived by his brothers and sisters: Alhaji Umaru B. Doumbouya, Deputy National Chairman, Leader, Sierra Leone People's Party; Chairman Board of Director, Sierra Leone Maritime Administration, Haja Kadiatu Doumbouya, Haja Aissatou Tal, Amadou Doumbouya, Haja Mariama Bayo, Adama Fatmata Toure, Hassanatu Doumbouya, Muhammad and Amadou Sidi Doumbouya, Haja Dususal, Bintu Shilon, Muhammad Saliu Doumbouya, Amadou Tijan Doumbouya, Muhammad Madiu Doumbouya, and Hawa Doumbouya, all in the USA. Usman Doumbouya, Muhammad Alpha Doumbouya, Lauratu Sajo Doumbouya, and Ramatu Doumbouya in Freetown. Husainatu Doumbouya and Ibrahim Sajo Doumbouya in Guinea. He is also survived by his mothers, Haja Fatmata Atta Sano Doumbouya in the USA, Madam Zainabu S. Dumbuya, and Madam Kadiatu Dumbuya M. Other relatives include Idumbuya, Bari, Ba, Jalo, So, Kuruma, Sila and Jakiti family, all in the USA, UK, Germany and Guinea. Close relatives include Alhaji Umaru Sila Ba, Alhaji Umaru Monuma Ba, Alhaji Suleiman Ba, Sheikh Ahmed Tijan Sila of the Central Mosque, Madam Binta Dumbuya in Kono City, Alhaji Mamadou Wulam Dumbuya in the USA, Haja Asatu Sabuya Ba, Aminata Dumbuya, AIG Komba and family. Funeral ceremony will take place at the Fuller Mosque at Magazine Court at 4 p.m. on the 18th May 2019 and will be later conveyed to the Kisi Old Cemetery for burial. May his soul rest.
The death is reported of the late Mrs. Esther J. Robert, commonly called Mami Robert, of number 25 Main Peninsula Road, Godrich. She is survived by her children and grandchildren at home.
The death is announced of Mrs. Aisha Sise, commonly called Nurse Bangali, who died at her residence at number 4 Kiata Road on the 8th of May 2019, aged 35 years. She was a nurse at the Blue Shield Hospital, Ascension Town Road, Freetown. She is survived by her husband, Mr. Samuel A.J. Sise, of number 4 Jomo Kiata Road, and her children, Grace Kagbo and Miracle Sise. There will be a vigil at number 4 Jomo Kiata Road, Yeli House, on Monday, the 20th May 2019, 7:30 p.m. Her body will be laid at her residence at number 4 Jomo Kiata Road, Yeli House at 12 p.m. Funeral service is at the Good News Church, Bar Street, Brookfield at 1:30 p.m. and burial is at the Circular Road Cemetery. Sympathizer may visit her residence at number 4 Jomo Kiata Road, Yeli House, or call through the following numbers: 077-831-10, 088-000-779, 030-283262, 088-351563. The family is sorry for any omission of name, as you all consider equally important. May her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. The death is announced of Mrs. Tanimola Mary King Nee Wesley, who died on Tuesday the 7th May at her residence at number 66A Big Waterloo Street, Freetown, age 87 years. She is survived by her children, Mr. Arnold King and Miss Belinda King, sister Miss Ada George of Moritown, and Reverend Canon Veronica Thomas, brother Mr. Modu Wesley. In-laws: Reverend Solomon Lewis of number 9 Cemetery Road, Congo Town, Mr. Vidal Fury, Mr. Raymond Baba Richards. Many nephews and nieces include Ayo George and family in the UK, Lena Decker in the US, Albert George and family, Albertina George in Uganda, Christopher George, Cassandra George in the USA, Dr. Virginia Williams family, Emilia George also in the USA, Angela Baba Richards, Emadu Cole in the USA, Chuku Pari, Edmond Aminata Kamara, Felix Charles Lewis and family, William Lewis in Congo Town, and Williet Lewis and Williet Lewis. Many grandchildren include Valerie Fury, Vivat Fury, Valinda Fury, Melvin Decker family in USA, Jenny in Aju family in Sudan, Easterlyn and Andrina George in the UK, Rosamonda Griffiths family also in the UK, Kelvina Efum, Julia, and Damian and Zelinda all in the US. Dr. Jenrina Randall in Ghana, Erica, Angela, Ethel, Noella, Denzel, and many great-grandchildren. Other relatives at home and abroad include the Wesley, Taylor Wesley, Thomas, the Allen of Congo Town and Moritown, the George of Andrew Street, Moritown, the King family of Freetown and Waterloo, the Lewis family of Congo Town, the Fury of number 61 Big Waterloo Street, the Cole, the Leaks of Congo Cross, the Johnson of Congo Town and Freetown, the Coyote family at Lumley, the Lumley George families, the Prosperous Cole and Baby Wright families of Freetown, the Williams family of number 3 Jamburia Street, the Hope, the Peters of Congo Town, the Columbia Davis family of Freetown, the Connie Warren family, and Sonia Robert family of Congo Town. Close friends include Mrs. Sumo Anderson, Mrs. Sankor, Mrs. Oduni Bobo Cole in England, Theresa Gardin, tenant of number 66A Big Waterloo Street, Reginald Tucker, tenant of 9 Cemetery Road, Congo Town, Mrs. Hannah John in England. The body will be laid out at number 66A Waterloo Street, Freetown at 12 noon on Tuesday, the 12th May. Funeral services at the Samaria Wesley Methodist Church, Waterloo Street at 2:30 p.m. and interment at the Congo Town Cemetery. Sympathizers may visit at number 66A Big Waterloo Street, Freetown. The family regrets any omission of names as you all consider important. May her soul rest in perfect peace.
The death is reported of retired Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Conte of Kamara Lane, Benguma Road. The sad event took place on the 15th of May 2019 at the 34 Military Hospital. He was 75 years old. He is survived by his children, Mr. Biboen Conte and Lawrence Conte. Funeral arrangements will be announced later.